Okay, believe I am live now. Let's see who we got here. All right. Hey, what's going on, Layla Nolan? Thanks for joining the stream. Just checking to see here how we're looking. Can you hear me okay? Hi. Hey, Denisha Jones. Hey, Asian Gamer. How you doing? All right, awesome. All right, so we'll fix some things here. Fan on my computer is pretty loud for some reason, so I apologize if y'all can hear that very loudly. I'll try to get the mic closer to me so I can speak into it a little bit better here. So it'll drown out the sound of the fan, hopefully. So let's just go ahead and figure a couple things here real quick. Awesome. Thank you, Kiwi Ranger. Appreciate that. Glad you could hear it. When's part 10 of Henshin time? Already got a question of that coming in. That's being worked on. Don't have an ETA on that just yet, but I always let everyone know whenever that's coming. So be on the lookout for that whenever I drop a trailer or if I say something on social media. But hopefully it won't take as long as the last one did, but it's hard to say these days. Super busy with so many things. So, but let's go ahead and figure something out here real quick before we continue here, and then we'll get into what I want to discuss here, which is really the whole ordeal with Saban Brands getting a hold of the Power Rangers franchise here in full now, which is it's pretty crazy. Do I want to see a legacy Chronomorpher? I mean, that'd be nice, but and I don't doubt that Hasbro is going to go ahead and do something as far as legacy items are concerned. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it would be in their best interest to do something like that for the adult collectors. I mean, the legacy line was pretty good, so it'd be cool to see something like that. You know, some other legacy items outside of just MMPR stuff all the time. So. All right, just give me 1 sec here, guys, and I'm just looking up some information here real quick. I had here before, but it seems to be gone now. Okay, here we go. Awesome. All right. It doesn't mean that they necessarily own PMC. What it means is that they own the entertainment rights in terms of producing the show, producing episodes for the show. And apparently, from what I've been reading, they own some of Saban Brands' some of the other entertainment licenses they had on some cartoons and some other shows. So they haven't released a list, at least that I've seen yet. There hasn't been a comprehensive list of exactly which entertainment properties that Hasbro has now, but they have more than just Power Rangers. That I do know for sure now at this time. At the time that I made my other video, I didn't know for sure. I just kind of assumed, but apparently that does seem to be the case, that they do own some other entertainment properties from Saban Brands. So it's possible that we'll be seeing Hasbro produce toys not only for those other properties as well, but we could even see them produce some shows. So let's see. Hasbro, yeah, we're talking about Hasbro. I don't think we'll see the end of Sentai footage. I mean, I'd be surprised if Hasbro decided to go ahead and shoot their own footage. I mean, I think that it would be best for them to go ahead and keep doing it the way it's been done by taking that footage, that Japanese footage that's already shot, and splicing it in with their show. I mean, it would be it would be a waste to me for them not to do that, considering it would save them on costs for filming. So I would say it'd be best for them to just go ahead and continue that. Do I like Godzilla? Yes, I do. I am a Godzilla fan. Have a lot of Godzilla movies. Have a lot of kaiju movies, actually. And I actually love Gamera a lot. As far as kaiju is concerned, my favorite movies are the Gamera trilogy. I think they are the best kaiju movies that I've ever seen personally. And to anybody that has not seen the Gamera trilogy, I would strongly recommend watching it. It's very good. All right, let's see. Hey, what's up, Lao Pete? Would I want to see a reboot or continuation of VR Troopers or Masked Riders? I wouldn't mind. I mean, but I doubt that'll happen. I think if anything happens with, I mean, they could, if they do something with VR Troopers, I don't think that they would do anything regarding, I don't think they would do anything live action. I think that VR Troopers is something that if Hasbro wanted to do something with it, I could maybe see them doing something in the form of animation, maybe 3D animation. As far as Masked Rider goes, if they're able to get any of the newer shows, I could see them trying to possibly adapt some of those, hopefully, but I don't know. Hasbro has always been more within the realm of doing things that are animated. So, like this is, I'm not saying they've never done any live action shows, but that's always been more their forte, at least initially, dealing with animated things. So we'll see how they're able to really handle Power Rangers. You were on Dino Supercharge, Kiwi Ranger. That's awesome. You were an extra or something. When in the history of Power Rangers Super Sentai do you plan on having its Henshin time end? See, the thing was, initially I was going to end it after 8 parts because I was just going to do up until Mighty Morphin and then just kind of explain the phenomenon of Mighty Morphin and kind of like have that be the bookend. It was going to be starting off from how the franchise started in Japan, how the Super Sentai series started in Japan and then ended up coming over here to America, and then just kind of how my original intent with it was just to see how it was already a phenomenon over there in Japan for several years beforehand, and then how it finally came over here and became a phenomenon over here. But I guess I'll keep it going as long as people want to see more about the history of the other seasons. I'll keep making it, or until I get some kind of, and knock on wood, that this doesn't happen, that I get some kind of cease and desist order, which I don't think I would, because I everything I've done, at least with the series this far, has been within fair use. So I've been very careful to kind of stay off, I guess, Saban Brands' radar in that regard. Do I think they should do Power Rangers too? I'm assuming you're referring to another Power Rangers movie, a second Power Rangers movie. Me personally, I didn't like the first movie. I did a review video with some friends, talking about my reasons why. I mean, there was things that I did cut out of that video. There was actually more to that video, but due to, cutting it down for time, there's actually a lot. I went into a lot more detail as to why I didn't like certain aspects of the movie. But I don't know. There was good things about it. There was things that felt like Power Rangers in the movie, but I ultimately didn't feel that it conveyed the complete spirit of what Power Rangers is, or at least what I feel that it is. But it was a decent movie, but I don't think it's one that really, at least to me, it didn't appeal to me enough to really warrant a sequel. But that's just my opinion, Would you guys ever do a history of Kamen Rider series? That's something that I have been wanting to do for years, but there is another Tokusatsu channel that is doing actually a history of Kamen Rider, and that is Marco Satsu. He's currently doing a History of Kamen Rider series, but his, I believe, is more of kind of a review style series. If I were to tackle Kamen Rider, I'd probably go more the documentary type format, like I've done with Henshin Time. But I've thought about it. I mean, but it's just there's just so much on the plate right now in terms of what I've been working on. So I don't know when we would have time to do that. I mean, it's hard enough to get out these parts of Henshin Time. So let's see. Jetman movie script is done. Awesome. I'm sure, Pete, I'm sure you could find plenty of crossovers online on various sites. I'm sure somebody will link it there in the chat. Do you mean the Mystic Knights of Tir Nanog? The Mystic Knights of Tir Nanog was a series that was an original American tokusatsu series that they did. They filmed, I believe they filmed some of it in Ireland, but it was supposed to be a completely original series that they did. I saw it. I saw it back when it was out on TV, but it ended after 2 seasons. I mean, it was for pretty much the same reason that any other tokusatsu series that Saban Brands was working on ended, and that was to really put all their eggs into the Power Rangers basket and make sure that they had enough for that. So, but Mystic Knights of Tir Nanog, highly underrated series, very good. If you haven't seen it, try to find some episodes of it. I have not seen Bill. Will you be attending any conventions in the Northeast, New York, Jersey, Pennsylvania area? See the wave. There's a small possibility that I could end up going to New York Comic Con in October. It's a very slim, very, very, very slim possibility. More than likely, I probably won't, but there is a small, like, slither of a chance that I may. So, if I do, I will definitely be announcing it. I will definitely put it out there. So, any of you that want to come say hi at a show, you can, find out where I'll be at. So specifically at these shows, because usually when I go to these shows, I go as a vendor or I go to help out Ranger Stop. So, all right, give me 1 second. All right, let's see here. Okay. History of Metal Heroes, that's another one I've thought about doing. Oh, so history of, yeah, I've only seen one of, I've only seen, I think, like a handful of Marco Satsu's History of Kamen Rider. So I know he does more of a review style format, similar to Linkara. From the time that I started wanting to do this, I never wanted to do really so much as a review style. I wanted to do more of like a fact-based, retrospective. So after the Heisei era, do I think the Kamen Rider or Super Sentai will be darker? It's a possibility. I don't foresee it because I think right now Toei, the way Toei is doing things, they got a good thing going with it. How the saying goes, if it ain't broke. So I don't think that they'll get much darker, but there might be those occasions where you have something like Kamen Rider Gaim, where it started off kind of slapsticky, and then all of a sudden it kind of gradually progressed into something dark. I mean, you might, I'm pretty sure you'll see something like that. Hey, what's up, Toku Nerd? Thanks for joining the stream. Do I think Hasbro will take influence on the Boom Studios Power Rangers comic when it comes into writing the show? I mean, it's possible, but I don't. I can see them doing that if they decide that they want to do something really original with Power Rangers, if they want to make some kind of, some offshoot original content with Power Rangers. But I don't think that that's something that's going to happen initially. I think what's going to happen is what's been happening is that as they come out in Japan, they're going to continue to adapt them the way they've been adapted. So, like the Henshin combos. Hey, Terrell Billinger. Thanks for watching from Philly there. Build is a dark series. I haven't seen Build, so I have to check it out. I mean, I haven't heard anything about Super Sentai ending at all. I haven't seen the recent Super Sentai season. I hear that it's pretty good though. Lupin Ranger, what is it? Lupin Ranger and Pacha Ranger or something versus Pacha Ranger, something like that. I've heard it's pretty good, but I haven't seen it. I haven't had the chance to watch it yet. I mean, team ups would be great, and it'd be a good idea for them to do them. I think it'd be a great idea for them to bring that back. That's what is it? Lupin Ranger versus Patrol Ranger. Okay. I'll have to check it out. I'm not sure if it'll be. That's hard to say because there's times where, you know, like I'll give you an example. Like we'll say Beast Wars, Transformers Beast Wars. One of the great things about Transformers Beast Wars, especially the second season, is that they really kind of fleshed out even things that were a part of the original Transformers. I mean, there's things that you saw in Beast Wars that really kind of helped you understand the original Transformers a little bit better. Things like one of the things specifically that I can name was when they kind of fleshed out Starscream's ghost, so to speak. I'm sure if for any of you that have seen the old school Transformers, I'm not sure if you remember, but after Starscream had died, there was I think one episode, it might have been two, where his ghost came back, which was kind of silly because he was obviously a machine. But they kind of they made it make more sense in Beast Wars because he also came back in Beast Wars. He came back as a spark, and dogs are out there. Apparently something's happening out there, but they kind of explained it better with him being kind of this spark that just kind of was traveling through space. You know, he just lost his physical body, but his spark remained intact, and it was just floating through space and time, apparently. So that to me, you know, the way they explained that seemed to be better than just him being this ghost, which is kind of silly. So, but the thing is, by that, my point with telling you guys about that is basically that they seem to want to make sure that when fleshing out these things a little bit more, they were doing it so that it would make more sense to kids, and it could be taken a little bit more seriously, so it wouldn't be as hokey, I guess. So I could see them doing the whole kitty thing with Power Rangers, but I could also see them having writers there that write arcs that will make it seem a little bit darker, so. Bill and Ted 3. Yeah, I heard about that. I thought that was a joke at first. I had no idea. Then I saw pictures, and then there was a bunch of sites confirming it, that it was actually true. Bill and Ted 3 is indeed happening. So that'll be interesting to see, because I love the Bill and Ted movies. I mean, they just got better. I mean, Bill and Ted, the first one was good. Then Bogus Journey was even better. One of those few instances where the sequel was better than the original. So. Oh, this is a good question by Vinny. 792. For Henshin time, are there any veteran Ranger actors that you're interested in interviewing that have conflicting schedules with the Order movie? There have been a number of setbacks for the film. Yeah, the thing is, I think that the whole issue with them having setbacks for that movie is because a lot of them do conventions and a lot of them book out those schedules months and months in advance. So it gets hard to get everybody on the, and they're working with so many people on that. To get so many people on just a schedule for filming, that's going to be a nightmare. But as far as getting any other actors, I mean, I've gotten most of the ones that I wanted already. If the opportunity presents itself to get anybody else, of course, that they have time, I'll try to interview them. But for the most part, I think I pretty much got who I wanted, at least for what I wanted. What I would really like to do is possibly get to sit down with some Sentai actors. But that's obviously a little bit more difficult because they're in Japan. So with Hasbro obtaining the Power Rangers license, do you think we'll be back to 40 or 50 episode format? Ram Jam, one could only hope. I mean, I hope they go back to that format. I thought that format was better for them, but I mean, I at the very least, it would be nice for them to go to 40 episode format, but I mean, we'll have to wait and see for that. Do you want? I haven't watched Kamen Rider Build yet. The last Kamen Rider series that I saw in its entirety was, I want to say it was, I think it was Double. I think it was Kamen Rider Double. Hey, Go Guy, change grid. Well, the thing is, Terrell Billinger, to answer your question, I believe that there are other entertainment. That there for sure is more than just Power Rangers that Hasbro has acquired at this point. That much has been confirmed. What exactly they've been able to obtain, that's anybody's guess, because they haven't really, at least that I've seen, I haven't found any kind of comprehensive list as to what shows Hasbro does indeed have the licenses for now. But I know that it's more than just Power Rangers. I know for sure it's, I think one of them that they did release the name of was, I think Popples was one, and I think My Pet Monster. So there's some cartoon shows that Hasbro has acquired, and those properties from Saban Brands, but there's apparently some other ones as well. They just haven't named them yet. Gotta hang out with the Proto Pals. Well, have fun. Thanks for joining the stream. Have I seen the Mother's Day special? No, I have not. Appreciate that, Gokai Change Grid. Do I think that they will create? I would honestly like to see them start fresh. But it's possible that they could do the sequel. But am I attending Power Morphicon in August? That is another one that there's a very slim chance that I may be at Power Morphicon in August, but there's a better chance than not, at least at this point, that probably won't happen. But there's always that slim chance. It just depends on. It really just depends on scheduling. It just depends on what I'm doing at during that time of year, because I do a lot of other conventions. I mean, really locally. So I mean, it just depends what my schedule looks like. If I have the time available to head out there. So, but like I said, if I do, I'll definitely let everyone know. And like, I don't know if any of you are following me on Twitter or use social media, but if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter. It's at Toy Bounty Hunter. The S wouldn't fit, so it's just at Toy Bounty Hunter on Twitter if you guys want to follow me on there. And you could just or just like my page on Facebook. It's Toy Bounty Hunters. What do you think about Hasbro? Can do fan series. Yeah, I mean Netflix is always a viable option, in my opinion, for a show like Power Rangers. I mean, I think it would do fine on a streaming service. Would I read? Oh, that's a good question. Would I read a Jew Ranger Power Rangers crossover by Boom Studios? That'd be interesting. That'd be interesting. I mean, there's some. I definitely want to read at least a couple issues of the Boom Studio comics. It's just timing. It's just I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, Jetman is actually the series that saved the franchise, because Five Man performed it underperformed. Like it did pretty poorly for them, and it was not a popular season. I'm not saying it's a bad season. I've seen a couple episodes of it. I mean, it doesn't seem all that really appealing, but yeah, that's the one that almost ended it for Super Sentai was Five Man. Five Man had very very poor ratings, had very poor merchandise sales, and people just seemed to not generally be interested in it. But the funny thing is that had happened prior to that too as well, with Jacker. Jacker initially was not considered a very appealing season either. It really didn't catch on with kids. So Jacka could have ended Super Sentai as well, because it was not. It was initially was not a role. It's one of those seasons that it kind of became a cult hit after the fact. People kind of liked it after the fact. Kind of like I guess you could equate it kind of to the very first Mobile Suit Gundam series. When Mobile Suit Gundam came out in Japan initially, in 1979, it was not a popular show. It was one of those shows that became popular due to reruns. Is how it basically, because of its second wind, is how it really got popular in Japan. So by the early 1980s, when it was on reruns and things like that, and that's when it really started to catch with people, and with the help of the movies that they made, where I'm sure you guys have seen this with anime, when they take entire anime series and they condense them into these theatrical movies, so there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's just they take certain key points from a series and they'll put them into this movie. They'll change up the animation, they'll put them into this movie, and then they'll release them. Those also helped Mobile Suit Gundam get popular in Japan. So I'm sure that the Jacka crossover with Go Ranger is probably what helped it kind of endear itself to fans. Kamen Rider Amazons. I've seen the first, I want to say the first 4 episodes of Kamen Rider Amazons. I liked it a lot. It's all about time. I just gotta find the time to watch it again. But I did like it. I liked Amazons a lot. Uh, I mean, it would Boner Man. It would be cool for them to take that, kind of that concept of kind of, if they wanted to go ahead and take the concept of maybe like a Ranger verse. I mean, that's been very popular. These alternate universes have really been popular with certain comic books in the past. I mean, look at Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse, they bought in Japanese Spider-Man and Leopardon. That was cool. So I mean, it'd be interesting if Boom took a cue from Marvel and did something like that. That'd be pretty cool. I think Hasbro would. I think Hasbro would adapt Tokuja. I don't see. It's definitely. Here's what I would say. Now that Hasbro has acquired the entertainment license as well, there it opens up this whole new world of possibilities, and that being that these past seasons that have been skipped could potentially get, could finally see the light of day over here. So we see it first here with Go Busters becoming Beast Morphers. It's very possible that Tokuger can be one that they go ahead and adapt over here as well. It's a better possibility now than it was before when Saban Brands had it, because as the years pass, I mean, every year that was passing by while it was still with Saban Brands, that's 1 year that it was less likely that they were going to go back. But now it seems that Hasbro is willing to take chances on those seasons, or at least this is an assumption that I'm making here, just because of the fact that, look, they went back, delve into the vault basically, and brought out Go Busters. So it seems that they might be willing to take a little bit more chance on seasons that maybe Saban Brands looked at and said, well, we don't know the viability of these seasons if they're going to be very good on TV here. So I think it's very possible that that you could see a ToQger adaptation in the future as well. Lupin Ranger, I would really have to see Lupin Ranger versus Patcher Ranger to make, to give an opinion on that, on whether or not it could be adapted over here. I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, as long as you have good enough writing that makes sense as to why there's these two separate teams, I think it's totally possible to adapt just about anything. I mean, as long as it's done in a way that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that, Vinny. Yeah, they did renew the license with Nickelodeon, so unfortunately Hasbro will have to do that 20-episode format, at least initially. But once that contract expires, and it just depends on if Hasbro wants to renew with Nickelodeon or not. But once that contract expires, they can move on to greener pastures if they want. If they decide that they're going to do better on a different network, they'll go ahead and move on from there. So. Is Manny coming back for Henshin Time Part 10 and beyond? Well, I mean, Manny would be in whatever, he would still appear in Henshin Time. If the thing is, I'm not sure if I'm pretty sure I've addressed this before. Manny actually moved away. He actually lives outside of town now, and it makes it a lot harder for us to get together to do projects. So, possibly, maybe. There's just, if we could find a way to set up somewhere, a mutual place where we could both film from, I mean, I would definitely love to have him back in a future part. But that's why he hasn't appeared in the last couple parts. It's because he, we still keep in contact. We still talk almost every day. So, I mean, he's my best friend. He's like my brother. So, it's possible that we can have him in a future part. It just depends on how we can work that out. So, all right, let's see. Get a couple more questions in here. All right. You think Power Rangers should have been canceled following the failure of Operation Overdrive more than 10 years ago? I don't think so. Because here's the thing. One thing, and I think the reason why, I know that Operation Overdrive was not a popular season. It was considered, the worst season up until that point that had come out. But that was a general consensus. I mean, I watched it. I didn't think that. I didn't think it was the worst season I had personally seen, in my opinion. But I could understand why people didn't like it, though, and I could understand. And it wasn't a good season, but I didn't think it was the worst. But I think their mindset, surprisingly, behind it, even though a lot of people were saying, Saban himself, that, Disney didn't care about Power Rangers the same way. I think that they even still felt that, let's still give it a chance here and see if we can, do something with it. I think, whereas Saban, when Turbo pretty much was a failure, they were more, it seemed like they were more willing to give up on it at that point than Disney was. I think Disney was, even though Disney's heart might have not been into it as much or seemed that way, it seemed like they weren't going to be as willing to give up on it as quickly, or maybe because of seeing that, okay, well, this is just one bad season. Maybe they saw what happened with, Turbo, from Turbo to Space, where it's like, okay, this is a bad season, but maybe the next season we could bring it back and make things better. So. Okay, let's see. Well, the thing is with the suits, they could always make new suits. So if they did another reunion, like a color reunion, I mean, the only other, if they did another reunion of a color-based season, I would, you know what? I'll say gold. I would like to see some Gold Ranger seasons. I think that would be an interesting mix of Gold Rangers. I mean, think about it. If they brought back Jason as the Gold Ranger from Zeo, one of the twins from RPM, I forget, Antonio. I mean, it would be an interesting ragtag mix of characters as Gold Rangers. I mean, I think you could even throw Solaris Knight in there, even though he's not really a color, but his armor's gold. So, History of Gundam. I've actually thought about doing a History of Gundam. Boner Man, we're gonna have to wait on that to see. So we'll have to wait on that to see if they do something like that. He thinks about using Sentai only suits in Super Mega Force. No, I don't think that, because the thing is, he has the license over here, so I think he'd be just fine. I don't think anything would happen to him. Appreciate that, Ram Jam. What's the saddest behind-the-scenes Super Sentai Power Ranger story you've heard? That's kind of a tough one. I mean, I haven't. I don't, because the thing is, when I have interviews with the Ranger actors, I mean, I don't. It mostly, the stuff we talk about is usually regarding the production of the shows and their personal experiences. I haven't had any of the Ranger actors that I've talked to talk about anything really sad per se. I mean, there's some that have expressed frustration over how they were they were handled, I guess, or their interactions, or how they felt in terms of their role there, and some of them felt underappreciated and things like that. But that's about it. I mean, as far as anything sad, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. So, hey, Charizard Ranger, thanks for joining. Better late than never, man. Hopefully, Saban learns not to tuck with the fans after the copyright incidents with Mr. Weenie Productions. Yeah, I know Mr. Weenie Productions. Good guy, friend of mine. When I went to Paramorphicon some years back, we hung out a couple times during the weekend there. Really good guy. Yeah, it's a shame the stuff that's happened to him over the years. The thing is, they've been messing with him for years now. For years, this has gone on for years since it started from the time, I believe, he started doing his. I want to say it started from the time he started doing his Megaforce reviews. It's just been a constant thing of them, just like it's pretty ridiculous, because it's gotten to the point where even just the mention of Power Rangers in this title just gets him like, you know, gets a claim on his video, and that's just absurd to me. You know what I mean? I don't know. I've never had any issues like that, and again, knock on wood, hopefully I won't. But yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know if somebody over there has it out for him or whatnot, but he's a good dude. He's a good dude, and he makes you know, he brings up good points in his videos regarding you know, episodes and things like that in his reviews. And you know, it's a shame. You know, hopefully they'll back off him, because you know, he's of anybody, and not that I'm saying that anybody deserves that, you know, have somebody come after him like that for content, unless they're blatantly doing something that goes against fair use, like, you know, uploading full episodes and things like that. But he's the last person that deserves anything like that happen to him. So, you know, he definitely does not deserve that at all. He's the nicest guy in the world, you know. You know, I want to do another commentary video, and I probably will, for Henshin Time Part 2. And I wanted to do that actually with Manny. It's just trying to set up a time, because I want to do I wanted to do the first part. The first part that I did a commentary on, I actually wanted to do that with Manny, but again, it's finding the time to do that. I mean, he has a little bit more time to do something like a commentary than he does for filming. So that's why he can't, that's why he hasn't been in any of these last couple parts. He has more time to do an audio recording though, because that's something that is fast. You know, it's just, and it's something that doesn't have to be scripted, you know. It's more shooting off the top of our heads. You know, it's not lines that we have to read to record. It's just us pretty much shooting from the hip, talking about, you know, what we did, you know, and making episodes and experiences and things like that. Layla, you know that Jason would have to get them gold powers back. What if Power Rangers did their own legendary battle before Super Sentai for in space? How would you picture it? Oh man, that might be a convoluted mess. I don't know how that would go. Do you think the anniversary special for Super Ninja Steel will be great? I don't know. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, as far as the numbers have shown that Ninja Steel hasn't been a very popular season, so I'm not sure how much interest there'll be in them trying to do any kind of anniversary specials with Ninja Steel. You know, that might be something that they won't even bother with. So, fun fact: Christopher came in Lee Andrews, the Red Ranger from PR in Space, is the older brother of Grey's Anatomy and Supergirl fame. Is that really true? I don't know if that's true or not, Terrell. I do know that Christopher does have a sister. That much I do know. He has a younger sister. I don't know if it's that actress that is on those shows, but he does have a younger sister, though. That much I do know for sure. He does have a younger sister. Victor and Monty were the worst thing in Ninja Steel. Well, I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I guess I'll just have to take your word for it. Just hope that Ninja Steel brings back Ninja Storm Rangers. Yeah, I mean, well, if they were to do any kind of, you know, crossover anniversary season kind of ninja seasons, then, you know, it would behoove them to bring back Ninja Storm, but I'm not sure if that would go down. Okay. Do I think Power Rangers should use a multiverse like DC Comics, Marvel Comics, or Gundam? I mean, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind seeing something like that. I think it'd be a pretty cool idea. I mean, it would definitely it, it 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 could show people um, or educate people a little bit more on the show's true origins. So it'd be a good opportunity for that at the very least. Oh, Bandai's not going anywhere. Yeah, Bandai's not. I don't know why. I don't know who's saying that. Barbados, who's saying that Bandai's going bankrupt. Bandai is like the second or third biggest toy company in the world. They're not going anywhere. They're they're fine. You know, I mean, they have plenty of properties that they can still draw money from. And from my understanding, as far as Super Sentai and Kamen Rider goes, they still have those licenses in Japan and Asia to produce toys over there. So as far as the Hasbro toy making deal goes, my understanding is that they're just going to produce Power Rangers toys. So basically anything that has that Power Rangers logo. So, you know, the UK will be getting toys that are made by Hasbro. Anywhere else that has that Power Rangers logo on it, they will be getting toys from Hasbro. But as far as like Super Sentai is concerned, I believe Bandai is still going to be producing those toys in Japan. So, or at least to the best of my knowledge. As far as Henshin Time Part 10, I mean, I this next part, it's looking like I'll probably be doing it solo. I mean, unless something frees up for him, because he's very busy too. That's the thing, that Manny is married and he has kids, so that's another thing that takes up a lot of his time. So, you know, he doesn't have the free time that he used to because of, again, you know, living outside of town now and having to just always be with his family. So a Power Rangers Transformers crossover, I would not mind seeing that. That'd be pretty cool. I'd be down to see that. I think that'd be a pretty cool thing to do. So let's see. A pizza oven. A Hasbro Cinematic Universe. I mean, that might be, you never know. I mean, they could totally do it. At this point, with the franchises that they're acquiring, and so many of them being a part of pop culture. I mean, really, the only thing I see left for Hasbro to conquer, and they'll be like, and they'll just be like completely unstoppable, would be if they acquired like Masters of the Universe, which is, you know, He-Man, Barbie, and like Ninja Turtles, and that's it. You know, that's all she wrote. A Power Rangers My Little Pony crossover. I don't think that's going to happen, but hey, stranger things have happened. So, hey. I doubt that the Shattered Grid is going to have the Shattered Grid. Anything that's produced here in America, you know, whether the comic books, has zero impact on the Super Sentai universe. I mean, the only thing that's happened regarding the only way that Power Rangers has really ever impacted Super Sentai is when they've drawn, when there's things that the only real things that have impacted Super Sentai have been more on a, I mean, inspiration level and maybe like production level. Like, for example, Power Rangers in Space, you know, them doing the first ever, you know, Battleizer armor. That's something that obviously that's one instance where Saban did something that actually became a standard in Super Sentai after that. You know, that once it happened here in Power Rangers, you know, that's actually an idea that they were like, and they started using that idea in future seasons of Super Sentai. So, you know, when it comes to things like that, that's really the only effect. But as far as like from a story perspective, I doubt that there's anything that they'll do in the Boom comics that will really have any kind of effect in Super Sentai in general. So, or at least in the canon of Super Sentai, I should say. All right, so Kamen Rider Phase 1 or Phase 2? Do I watch any other Toku YouTubers? I watch Marco Satsu, Squall Charleston. I watch Toku Time. It's a friend of mine. I watch Monstrosities of Log of Tokusatsu. That's pretty much it. It's a pretty short list right now, and these are people that I try to actively watch when I have the time. So I would say, and I would recommend all of them. They're all good. They're all good. They're all guys that know their stuff. Marco Satsu, very informed on his stuff. Is very hardworking, very consistent with his uploads. Same thing with Squall Charleston. Very enthusiastic, very well spoken. Gives a very good perspective on his videos. My buddy Easy Rider, of course, he's been doing this for ages now. He's a veteran of the Toku YouTube scene, and he's very knowledgeable about Tokusatsu, or especially in the Henshin hero realm of it. He's probably, at least of people that I know personally, he probably is. I would say of people that I know personally, he probably knows the most about Henshin Hero Tokusatsu of anyone that I know personally. And as far as like Kaiju Tokusatsu, Monstrosities of Log of Tokusatsu. My buddy Matt Burkett. I mean, just because he does such great work on his videos, on top of the fact that he's very informative as well, and it's just the flow of his videos and the way he does things is just, he does things on such a professional level. They're just a pleasure to watch his videos. Have you met any other popular online critics like AVGN, Nostalgia Critic, Linkara? I have met Nostalgia Critic. I met him briefly. I did an interview with him. Actually, it's here on the channel. If you guys want to look it up, look up the interview I did with Doug Walker. It was very brief. We were both I was at a convention. I wasn't there as a guest or anything. I mean, he was there. He was at a convention I went to. I want to say back in 2012 or 2011. He was a guest at a convention that I had gone to film some things for Henshin Time. So I was there to work. He was also there to work, of course, too. But he was there to work as a guest, and we passed by each other in the hallway. And I was just like, hey, want to do a quick interview? And I just did like a quick 3-minute or 3-question interview with him, because he was on his way to go do some other interview or something like that. And I figured, oh, yeah, hey, that's Doug Walker. Why not? I had nothing better to do, so I just went ahead and just had a quick interview with him, and that was it. Linkara, I know that Linkara has gone to Power Morphicon, and he's been at conventions. I know he's been at other conventions that I've also been at, but me and him have never crossed paths. I've never met him. I've never spoken to him. I have, because I know when Juwario, when they did the Famicom and Rider screening movie at for Juwario at MagFest a couple years back, I know that he was there. I was there also. I was there. My buddy Zarin Sefer was there. I was there with my buddy Matt Burkett, who worked on the movie, who worked on the Famicom and Rider movie. I was there with him watching the movie because he had worked on the movie. And I know that Linkara was there as well. Linkara was also in the room as well. And he knows my buddy Matt Burkett knows Linkara, but there was never an opportunity where there was a moment for us to really meet or interact with each other, but we were in the same place. I was also there. There was also some other people in there as well watching there, like Gaming Historian was in there, and a couple other people that knew Jew Wario were in there watching the screening of that movie. So, and I know that Linkar's also gone to Power Morphicon. I know he went the year that I went, which was 2014. So, but I just haven't crossed paths with him. But yeah, I mean, I guess as far and at AVGN, I've never met him. So never met him or never seen him at a show that I've gone to. So at least not yet. So I think Hasbro will handle Power Rangers good. I think they will. I think they will treat it with love and respect. I don't see any reason for them not to. Because they're the number one toy company in the world by far. So I mean, it's like they want to continue to produce that money. They're gonna treat it well. They're gonna put a plan in place where they make sure that it makes a lot of money for them. So. Would you like to see if you could find a new partner who is a Toy Bounty Hunter fan and it's Henshin Time fan down the road? What do you mean? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Michael Sanders. Are you saying like somebody to help me? Is that what you mean, or do you think In Space was responsible for helping save the Power Rangers franchise? Oh, it absolutely was. Power Rangers in Space literally saved the franchise. It saved it because it brought interest back to the show. It brought fans that were at that time already. By the time Power Rangers in Space came out, I was already in high school. So, obviously my interest in kid shows wasn't, I was starting to outgrow that stuff, but it was enough for me to actually watch it, that I thought it was good. I was like, wow, this is actually pretty dark. So it was definitely trying to bring, or at least in my opinion, they were trying to bring back fans that were growing up with the show, that started watching it initially and were growing up with the show. I think they were trying to appeal to them and bring them back to watch, and I think it worked. But also, I mean, it was a well-written show. It was just it hit on all the right points. I mean, the suits weren't great, but they were kind of unique looking. They were and the thing was too is just the action was good, the story was good. It took on a really dark tone first Power Rangers series to really get that dark, and then on top of everything else, the toy sales were good. The toy sales were good for In Space, so it brought it back on all the right levels. It had good ratings, the toy sales were good, and it was overall a very enjoyable season, one of the best. Hey, Conroy, just welcome to the stream. Appreciate you. We're just here talking. Do I think Avengers Infinity War is with Super Mega Force? And one could that would have been amazing if the Super Mega Force Legendary Battle had been like that. I mean, I don't know if Hasbro has really gotten into the modeling thing. They don't really need to be honest, because they make so much bank with just Transformers and action figures as it is. I mean, it's just, they don't really need to go the route of model kits. I mean, it'd be cool if they did, but they don't really need to. Do I think that the Shout Factory Sentai DVDs will continue under Hasbro? I think that's a separate deal. I don't think that Saban Brands has any kind of. I mean, for the seasons, obviously that I'm sure they had some kind of say regarding the seasons that um, they've adapted into Power Rangers, maybe to a degree, but I think that might be a separate deal. I think that might be more with Toei than actually with Saban. So I don't I don't. It may affect it, but maybe not. At worst, I mean, it's just going to transfer over into Hasbro's hands, and I don't see why Hasbro would want to stifle that. Why they would say no more of these Super Sentai seasons. I mean, unless they're losing a lot of money for them, which I doubt is the case. Because I mean, if that were the case, they would have stopped already. So I think that they'll keep the Shout Factory deal going for as long as it's lucrative for them. If they start to take big losses on them, then there might be a cutoff on them. So, or they might be, or that might be when you see them become a little bit more selective with which Super Sentai seasons they're going to put out. Have you ever thought to bring in Linkar or Bruno from my appearance for an episode of Ascension Time? Well, I met Bruno. Me and Bruno have talked because Bruno actually has come. I want to say I met him at Power Morphicon in 2014. So me and Bruno have talked before, but we don't know each other like that. And I talked to him a little bit more when he actually came to Ranger Stop a couple years back. I mean, I wouldn't mind. I guess you guys should ask. You guys should ask them if they want to do anything with me. I mean, I wouldn't mind it. It's just I know it'd be very hectic just to find the time to do anything. Really, I mean, because I know they're busy as well. I believe Bruno recently, I think, moved or something like that. I think he was moving over here to the East Coast, if I remember correctly, or I had heard that he was moving over here to the East Coast. I don't know where, but I mean, I'm always down to collab with people as long as we can find the time to do it. I have no problem with collabing with people. I mean, the only reason I guess I wouldn't is if they're just, if the opportunity just wasn't there. I mean, but as long as there's an opportunity, I'm open. I'm open to working with other YouTubers. I mean, I've worked with my buddy Easy Rider on a lot of stuff. So me and him have collabed probably the most of anybody that I know here on YouTube. I've collabed with Easy Rider, and I've also collabed with John D from Retroware TV. So, like I said, I'm down to collab as long as there's an opportunity to, and it makes sense, and there's time, and we could work something out. Finally coming to Blu-ray. I mean, I don't even have it on DVD, so I guess I'm kind of indifferent to the old Power Rangers movie. That's cool. I mean, well, I mean, if he's over there, maybe I'll see him. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't met the guy yet, so I mean, so I've seen some of his history of Power Rangers videos though. So the end of an era. Well, what I mean by that is that the Saban era is pretty much ending again, because initially it ended when Disney had acquired the franchise before, and now it's ending again. So it's the end of the Saban era again. So okay, so let's see. Or like somebody work with me and Manny. I mean, just depends. Like I said, I mean, Easy has been the one that has probably kind of, collabed with me the most to kind of fill that void. I mean, not that nobody could ever replace Manny. Manny is always going to be, my right hand. Like I said, he's my best friend, and we started this together. But Easy has been a great. He's been a great help on parts of Henshin time. So in the interim, so. What are my thoughts on the change of channel controversy that led to the abrupt departure of many channel awesome contributors? Okay, well, I'm gonna say this because I don't want to get on that because I think everybody is beating that horse to death at this point. You know, it keeps beating that dead horse. I should say, keeps beating that dead horse. I should say. I don't. The thing is with Channel Awesome. I mean, I had actually heard about stuff going on with them from the inside from somebody that was a contributor there and that left for a lot of these very reasons very early on and was ostracized by people because of it and was pretty much you know, I guess you could even say blackballed to a degree because of what they thought about what was going on there. And so I knew about I had known about stuff going on, or I had heard, at least I shouldn't say no, but I had heard a lot about what was going on behind the scenes there. And you know, it's one of those things. It's just you can't say with any kind of definitive you can't definitively say, oh yeah, you know, I know for a fact this is all going on because I'm not there. I mean, I'm getting this information, you know, secondhand or whatever. And not that I didn't believe the person. I did believe the person that was telling me all this stuff that was going on. And what's really bad about it, I guess, if not anything else, is the fact that you know, I feel for my friend that was a contributor there and that had to go through basically being shamed and you know, blackballed back in the day because this person decided to speak up back in the day that they didn't like some of the stuff that was going on there. And you know, there was some people that have these people that have left there now. I mean, good on them for leaving. I think it's one of those things though that I think it would have been much more impactful had, you know, all this had come to light sooner. I don't think at this point it makes as big of a difference as it could have made if it had come to light, maybe we'll say 3 or 4 years ago. So I guess really that's all I can say about that. I mean, look, I you know, I wasn't there. I don't know, you know, I only know one person personally that was a contributor on that site for a very brief time and departed there very early on because of the stuff that ended up coming out after the fact. So that's really all I can say about that. I mean, it's unfortunate, but you know, the truth always comes to light. Sequel to Dino Charge since its official sequel to Koryuja. I don't know. I don't know that they can do that. I mean, they could if they wanted, but I don't think they will. I think they gave up. The thing is, yokai, you know, Pokemon is so established over here. It's, you know, it's hard for anybody to compete with it. So I think they realized that, and that's probably why they pumped the brakes on it. All right, let's see. What do I think about Power Rangers being owned by Hasbro? I think, look, you know, I think Hasbro's got a chance to really capitalize on the missteps of Saban. That's really it. I mean, but it's one of those things we just have to wait and see. So I think I'd mentioned this before. I think there's a very good possibility that, again, because of the fact that they've started off, Hasbro has already started off with a series that was skipped. It just shows that they're open to it. It shows that they're open to basically going into territory, or at least this is what I take from that. They're open to going into territory that Saban wasn't willing to. That's the way I see that. By them going back and starting off with Beast Morphers, it shows me that they're a little bit more willing to, or at least I get the impression that they're more willing to take chances with the franchise that Saban probably wasn't comfortable with. What's your opinion on the 200 Mighty Morphin collection? I mean, I don't movie on. Well, I'm pretty sure they're gonna release the movie on Blu-ray without having to put in a collection. So Discovery, yeah, I know the Discovery family used to be known as the Hub. That I do know. You can't wait till Linkara rips on Ninja Steel and Super Ninja Steel until the DVDs come out. I'm sure there's a lot of people that will agree with your sentiment there. We'll have to wait and see, Charizard Ranger. We'll have to wait and see, bud. Again, so just one of the things we'll have to wait and see. I mean, like I said, I think that Hasbro, I think that Hasbro will do fine. I think they'll do just fine. What I really want to see Hasbro do, if anything, is I want to see what they're going to do with some of the other licenses, their entertainment licenses that they have now, because it would be great for them to either revive them in toy format or maybe even as shows. I mean, I don't think that they'll do them as live action shows. I get this feeling that they could use a lot of those Henshin Hero franchises, the older ones that if they've acquired those, like Saban's Masked Rider, like VR Troopers, like Big Bad Beetleborgs. I could see them potentially turning those into animated shows of some kind, possibly. But we'll have to wait and see. Didn't Hyperforce end? That was the card one, right? Hyperforce. Okay. I'm take a couple more questions here, and then I'll be wrapping the stream up here. So get those questions in. What happens to Anarchy Cosplay saying some of his stuff is counterfeit? What do you think? Anarchy Cosplay, I mean, I know who that is. I know a lot of people that have ordered from Anarchy Cosplay who have, I've heard, I've heard people say good things. I've heard people say bad things. I'm not entirely familiar with the whole, any kind of counterfeit controversy with them. This is the first I've heard of it. I mean, I really don't have any comment. I really don't know. I've never ordered from Anarchy, but I did consider ordering, a helmet from him one time just to be able to put it up somewhere. But I don't know anything more than that. So, which was your favorite Power Ranger era? Spawn era, Fox Kids era, Disney era, Neo Saban era? Well, I mean, since the Hasbro era hasn't officially started yet, can't say that. I mean, I guess if there's any favorite era, it's probably the Saban era, the initial Saban era that started off. Although I did like some of the Disney seasons too, though. So, how would you rank each of the Neo Saban Power Ranger seasons? See, that's kind of tough for me too, because I haven't seen them all yet. That'd be hard. I'd have to watch them. I mean, the only one I've seen episodes of consistently has been Power Rangers Samurai, and I got up to episode 6, and I was like, ugh, and I couldn't watch anymore. By Amazon's, I assume you mean Common Writer Amazon. Amazon's, I heard about that. Will you ever do a collab with Mr. Weenie Productions? Me and him, I know him. We're friends. We kind of sort of did a collab. I think I was in his Power Morphicon 2014 video. As far as doing like a video, like a full blown, I'd be down to do a collab with him. I mean, he's a friend of mine. So I guess if I end up going back to Power Morphicon later this year, I'll see if there's an opportunity to do that, because I wouldn't mind doing a collaboration with Mr. Weenie. John's a good guy. He's a very, very nice guy. So the Jutsu footage, as far as I know, was strictly used for the fight scenes, for the monster fight scenes. There was nothing else it was used for aside from that I know of. It was specifically filmed for that purpose, for it to just be the action sequences for those Power Rangers episodes. All right, am I going to Power Morphicon 2018? I'm going to try, but chances are it's looking pretty slim right now, but I'm going to try to see if I'll let you all know, though, if I do. So yeah, that you're right about that, Charizard Ranger. Yeah, Jutsu footage was used up until first couple episodes of the second season. They shot enough that it extended over into that season. So I don't think that they're gonna. The thing is, what's licensed really, what by Power Morphicon becoming a licensed show is basically that Saban Brands got behind it, more or less. You know, they became an officially licensed show. That's why that Power Morphicon's able to get, you know, why they were able to get Bandai exclusives and things like that, and able to get, you know, the actors from the show to, you know, to reveal themselves at Power Morphicon and things like that, is because they became an officially licensed show. So I'm pretty sure Hasbro is going to keep, you know, now Hasbro has the entertainment license. I'm sure that's all they're going to get. I'm sure they'll get behind Power Morphicon, because the thing is, Power Morphicon is an officially licensed show, but it's still owned by. It's not owned by Saban. So, you know, what they own is, you know, it's just it's the licensing rights to the name, more or less. So that is a good question, and Damien, that I do not know the answer to, but I could look into it, I guess. Lewis, I think I answered that earlier. Actually, I don't see why this deal would affect really the Hasbro deal. I think it'll be fine. So possibly we may Barbados. We may see that. You mean like Power Rangers Transformers? I mean, look. I mean, they're good. They're good at making Transformers, so why not, right? We might just see it. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap the stream up here. If you want, I'll answer one more question here. I'll answer one more question here. What do you think of a Go Ranger movie reboot? That'd be cool. I mean, I'd be down to watch it. I mean, it's possible that they could do it, like they did with Ichigo, but I don't know if the actor that played Aqua Ranger or the actors are too old now. I mean, I believe might be a little bit too old for that now, but hey, I'd be down to see it if they make it. So I usually do these QAs every once in a while, so I always announce it. So just like I said, just the best way to know for sure is I try my best to post on social media on Twitter. So if you guys follow me on there at Toy Bounty Hunter, or just like my Facebook page, which is also that one's Toy Bounty Hunters. Follow me on there. Also, from time to time I do stream on Twitch, and I usually announce that on the Twitter. So if you guys want to hang out and talk about Tokusatsu stuff on Twitch as well, it's the same, Toy Bounty Hunters. Just look me up on there. Hey, no problem. Thank you for watching the video, Charizard Ranger. But that'll be it for tonight, guys. Hopefully, as more news comes out regarding this Hasbro deal and what properties that they have acquired, I'll make another video about it, and we'll discuss it a little bit more. But thanks for joining the stream. Thank you guys so much. You guys have a good night, and we'll talk again soon. On continues.